Hey, what's going on, everybody? Phil Chance George here, and I want to talk to you about persistence. Have you ever felt that feeling that anything that you were doing and it just wasn't working the way you wanted to work, you just felt like quitting? Well, yeah, I felt like that. I felt like that plenty of times. And the funny thing about it, I had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine, and I told her how one of my strongest suits, one of my strengths, is persistence. And it's funny how I came about learning persistence and becoming very persistent. And it was by hanging with my brother and my older cousins. And it was through talking to girls. Now, guys, some of you guys who may be looking at this, you probably understand what I'm talking about. But ladies, most of you probably don't. But I learned it from talking to girls. I was very shy when I was 14, 15 years old. I really didn't approach girls. I was just like afraid of rejection. But I would look at my brother, I look at my cousins, and I just see the finished product. They come up with some nice looking girls, and I'm saying, man, how they do that? But when I started hanging with them, I just noticed they had to go through a whole bunch of no's before they eventually get some yeses and eventually find the person who became their girlfriend. And I had one particular cousin, and we would go to a function. This guy, he had a niche. He had a specific niche. He knew exactly what type of girl he wanted. Well, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, they say. I'll just leave it at that. But he went for a specific girl, would go to a function, and at the end of the function, this guy would come out of his pocket, have all these phone numbers in his pocket. And I'm like, how does he do that? But the funny thing about it, and I kid you not, most of those phone numbers that he had were wrong numbers. It was Joe's Pizza, it was the Precinct, it was it was I don't know, the number you have reached is not available at this time. But the incredible part is he didn't care. He still went on until eventually he found what he wanted. And I learned those things from them, and I implemented them for myself, but not to the level of my cousin. But I still implemented them myself. And once I started doing my home business, it really carried over to my home business, because I understand that whatever door that closes, another one's going to open up. And people are going to say no, but that's okay. It's cool. You keep going until you get those yeses. And that's one of the reasons why I never quit. Because I understand at the end of the day, I'm going to reach my goal. It may not be in the time period that I wanted to, but I know in time I'm going to reach it because I believe I'm going to reach it. So I stay persistent doing it. And I write down my goals. So if you never wrote down your goals before, I'll give you some advice. Please write them down, because they become more tangible. They become more believable when you actually start to read it, and then eventually you'll memorize it. You read it in the morning after you wake up, and you read it at night before you go to bed. And then eventually you'll memorize it. Then you start to feel it. Then you start to become more and more confident, along with becoming more persistent. Then you become more consistent, and then eventually you reach your goals or whatever it is. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was a funny story that I just shared with you, that a friend of mine and I was talking about how I became persistent. And hopefully, if you're watching this video and you're thinking about quitting, or you're in a position where things are not working out the way they are, that you want them to, trust me, stay persistent. Just go back to a moment that you achieved, a moment you overcame, any moment that you overcame in your life because of your persistence. Hold on to that moment. Let that moment carry over to whatever it is you're doing. And just believe in yourself, stay persistent, and you'll hit that finish line with whatever your goals are. So with that being said, I hope what I said makes a lot of sense, and I'll see you next time. Take care.